Hi, my name is Marie Toole, and I am an AARP Colorado volunteer. AARP can see and feel the trends. People 50 and over are more active, both physically and mentally, than ever before. They aren't slowing down. In fact, they are preparing themselves to do more of the things they love. So many older adults are exercising and eating right daily. They are taking the time to learn new things, and they know the importance of life balance, making sure that leisure and fun are significant parts of their healthy lifestyle. As part of that get up and go attitude, we are hosting webinars like Eating for More Energy with culinary nutritionist Michelle Fox, where we can discover new ways to keep our nutrition in check so that as we age, we can continue to do the things we love to do without limitations. Tonight, Michelle will show us how to make our veggies more delicious with barbecue meatballs and roasted sesame broccoli. One of the most common reasons for fatigue can be dietary related. Studies show that as little as 10% increase in vegetable intake can significantly boost your energy levels, reduce fatigue, and improve your concentration. Here's to boosting our energy through our veggies. In that spirit, we welcome you to enjoy our Eating for More Energy webinar with Michelle Fox. While we hope you learn something new and exciting, we want you to enjoy yourself, relax, and most importantly, have some fun. If you're in need of captions on the bottom, you can hover over the bottom and there will be captions with your mouse. If you start them yourself, you'll get the recipe after the class is over. You'll be emailed that recipe, and it's also in the chat right now on the right-hand side. If you'd like to hear more about healthy living and nutrition, please check out our website, www.aarp.org/food/healthy eating. We look forward to connecting with you. And here's my friend, Michelle Fox.
Thank you so much, Marie. That was a beautiful opening. And to my friends who are with us this evening, welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to our AARP family. I am so curious, who is in the room with us? If you could go ahead and find the chat box at the bottom of the screen, or if you're on your iPad, it might be to the side of your screen. Let me know your name and what city you are streaming in from. While you're doing that, a couple housekeeping items, I'll let you know. We are on a new technical platform this year than we were last year. So my friends who have returned from last year, you'll notice a few things are different, but we have a feeling you're going to appreciate this system a lot better. I feel already like I can be closer to you and we can have this conversation together. Another housekeeping item, when you see me looking to the right, it's because I'm looking at the chat box. So please know, when I look away, you still have 100% of my attention. And then lastly, hopefully you can see the recipe up top, but if not, please let us know and we'll go ahead and upload that in the chat box as well. All right, so let's see who is here. Julie's here. She says, yay, barbecue time. You get a dance, Julie. Nicely done. I'll try to tamper down on the singing part, but you know, the dancing, it's gonna happen tonight. So well done. Sherry's here in Denver. Diane in Colorado Springs. Welcome back, Diane. Always great to have you here. Trina from Denver. Diane, Elizabeth. Oh, yay. And the list goes on and on. Glenwood Springs. Oh, we have somebody in Nevada who's loving barbecue. Terry from Littleton. Oh, this is fabulous. Okay. Well, welcome. We have so many moving parts today. So I want to make sure we jump right in. And one thing I just noticed actually with the chat, make sure when you do reply, if you'd be so kind and make sure that the top label says to everyone, I really encourage community. We just have this hour together. And so I want you to be able to chat each other up, especially for my friends who might not have their fingers knee deep in meatballs. Go ahead, talk to each other. If there's something I say and somebody has a question, maybe you can help that person out. I will do my best to check the chat box off and on for any questions that come up. And then I definitely will save time at the end to answer all of your questions. All right, let's see. I see a little message at the top. And all right, looks like that is Another technical learning. Okay, so do I have any barbecue fans in the house? And before you answer that in the chat box, let me ask, like serious barbecue fans, like people who have made barbecue sauce from scratch before. Just let me know. Say, I do, I am, I have, or no, this is all new. I'm super curious who I'm talking to. Julie is ready again. She's like, oh, yes. Okay. Julie, you are in luck because I am going to strongly encourage you to keep an open mind because this barbecue sauce is going to be a little different. This is going to be very much health infused. I want to give you all delicious food that helps to aid in the healthy aging. So it's not going to be, some of the stereotypical barbecue sauce that we may have tasted in the past, but I really hope that you guys love this recipe. So to give you a heads up of where we're going, I want you to go ahead and pull out either a wok or a larger pan that you can make the sauce in. I want you to pull out 2 baking sheets. We're going to bake the meatballs on one sheet and we're going to roast the broccoli on another. I also want you, as I'm pointing behind me to my oven, I want you to turn your oven to 400 degrees. We're going to roast the broccoli and cook the meatballs, same temperature, but with timing, we'll be A-okay. For my friends who just have the one oven, you'll be perfectly fine with timing. What else? You might want to have a bowl for your refuse, and you also might want to have a bowl to actually mix the meatballs. And oh yeah, we're getting our fingers in there today. It's going to feel amazing. And then you also might want a larger bowl to at the very end, that's gonna be our last step with the broccoli. We'll be mixing the broccoli to make sure everything's perfectly coated and delicious. So I think those are the highlights. Let me double check. Diane said this is new to make homemade barbecue sauce. Linda's never made homemade barbecue sauce. Jeanette says no, but she loves to eat it, not much. Oh, great. Well, you guys are absolutely in the right place then. We are making our homemade barbecue sauce. So let's start. Let's get going. So for the sauce, we are going to warm up our oil. I'm turning on my oven now, or excuse me, my stovetop now because it's a little slow, the demo stovetop. But for you, if you have a gas range, you can wait a moment because right now we are going to chop 1 full yellow onion. Hopefully you got the ingredients ahead of time. And for my friends who want to follow along, again, that recipe is right in the chat box. And then also, as Marie mentioned, the recipe will be emailed to everybody who has registered for this workshop. Okay, so part of this recipe, after we simmer it down and get all the good flavors in, we are actually going to blend it. So these onion chops, they can absolutely be as coarse as you want. I also like to say, even if we weren't blending it, there's no such thing as perfection when it comes to culinary nutrition. So you can make the size of onion chop the size of your liking. And because I am in demo mode and I want to keep things moving, these are going to be kind of extra coarse chops. But I want to make sure to get these simmering because we're going to simmer. Or excuse me, we're going to saute this onion for 2 to 3 minutes before we start adding the rest of the ingredients. Ooh, this is a persnickety onion. Let me get some of the sticky stuff off so that I can keep all of my fingers. Important as a cook to have all your fingers, but wouldn't you agree? And now we're just gonna chop. And chop, and chop. I'm gonna move those to the side. And as I'm looking ahead, we're gonna saute the onions. So actually now might be a good time to start warming your either large skillet or wok. And feel free to put either full fat butter or avocado oil. The recipe calls for about 1 tablespoon. And some of you all are returning and some of you all are newbies. So either way, can anybody tell me why I may have chosen avocado oil in this recipe and or full fat butter, preferably organic. Awesome. So Marianne says it's good for high heat cooking. Yes. And Donna B gets the A+ because they are good fats. Yes, they both are great brain supportive fats. For those of us who are over 40, which I imagine most of the room is, this is the time that our hormones actually start to change. And so we really want to be extra mindful of our brain health. I mean, we want to be mindful of our brain health really at any age, right? But particularly when our hormones are doing some shifting around, it's really great to get that nourishment in. So for me, I'm using avocado oil. My body, I personally cannot tolerate dairy products, and so butter is just a bit too much. But if you can, then I say go for it. Okay, let's see if the oil is heated up and ready for us. Okay, here's some sizzling. So go ahead, let's saute our onion. You can hear my oven beeping in the back, letting me know that it is warmed up and ready for the meatballs. So that's a good sign. So we're coming, onion, I promise. I'm coming for you. Okay, so now that my onions are in there, I'm just gonna move them around and make sure all sides of the onions are coated in this beautiful, health supportive oil. All right, let me check the chat. Oh, good. So we're talking about the high heats. Very good. So this is an educated community. I am loving this. You guys are already a step ahead of me. Next, with the onion, we are going to saute. It looks like 3 garlic cloves. And I noticed in this recipe, we also have 2 more garlic cloves for the actual meatballs. And then we have 3 more garlic cloves for the broccoli. So let's do the math on that. So we're going to do 3 plus 2 plus 3 is 8. So go ahead and let's just knock them all out together. The 8 garlic cloves. From my friends who are cooking, do you smell the delicious aromas already of the onion wafting through? Normally I have my goggles because I do have sensitive eyes and I forgot to pull them out. So this is me being brave. This is what brave looks like in my world. I'm talking and I'm trying to hold the tears back, but it's all good. I am here for it. It's gonna be so good. Whew. Okay, so a fun trick with the garlic, I like to just trim off the edges. And then I'll show you a super fun and easy way to get the skin to just peel right off. And actually, I'll show you now in case you're a step ahead or a step or 2 ahead of me. You're just going to take 1 clove, put it face down on the kind of the curvy side, and actually either side is fine. Take your knife flat and just take the palm of your hand, and there you go. The skin just peels right off. And again, because we are going to end up putting this sauce in the blender, no worries about mincing this garlic. We can chop it down into the size that works for us. The amount of patience we might have this evening. It's a Thursday, so we're almost there. We're almost there to the weekend. 4, 5, 6, 7. I might be cheating myself. But if you are a garlic lover, feel free to do more. If you don't love garlic too much, no worries. This will still be delicious without the garlic. So go to your liking. Okay, so the garlic and the onion, this is my nutritionist weirding out on you right now. Can anybody tell me what family they're in? And I'll give you a hint. Starts with an A, and there's a family that the garlic and the onion belong to. I will tell you leeks and celery and green onion belong to this family as well. JV for the A+, the allium family. Well done. You want to go for the triple A+ and tell us why we want the allium family in our bodies? While you do that, I'm just going to put 2 pretty much half garlic cloves in because this heat is rocking it out. This is awesome. You never know what you're going to get with the demo stovetops. Here we go. So it lowers blood pressure. Yes, that is one wonderful benefit to the allium family. It also is, they also tend to be antiviral and anti-inflammatory. And so this family helps us with clear skin, with healthy digestive tracts, helps to increase our energy. And so that's why I sincerely try to put onions or garlic or celery in pretty much everything that I cook in this household. So if you haven't already put your garlic in, go ahead and put it in the sauce base. Next, we are going to add all of the rest that you see on the recipe. So we're going to go from the tomato puree through the honey and or molasses. For my friends who might like it sweet, you might want to go straight for the molasses, and all the way down through all of the seasonings. So I left mine in the can because, actually, let me let the sound die down before I share with you why I wanted you to see this can. It's not necessarily the brand, because there's a lot of wonderful brands out there. But when we get food from cans, I really want you to be mindful of what's inside of the can, meaning specifically no BPAs. The BPAs are chemicals that can come in and seep into our brain and cancel out all the healthy work we're trying to do right here. So anytime you're buying food from a can, please, please, please make sure the can says BPA free. No BPAs in our body. So beautiful. I'm going to turn this heat down a little bit, and you'll see the tomato sauce is going to start kind of dancing around. So we want to bring that down to a light simmer. So that was the tomato, a 1/4 cup of molasses or dark honey. My cousin actually recently went to South Africa, and she brought me a bottle of this gorgeous dark honey. Oh, yep, it's dancing. Let me get it off the heat for a minute. I'm going to try it. I actually haven't tried this honey in this recipe yet, so I'm sure you can tell I'm always up for an adventure. I am going to eyeball it though. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup, and I really try to lower my sugar intake just because it does tend to sap my energy. And so for my friends who are also on that journey, I say, use the amount of sweetener that you desire. And if you are not on this journey, you're like, Michelle, I can handle sugar. Well, okay, go for it. This is your barbecue sauce. Okay, so molasses and or dark honey. The 1/4 cup tightly packed dark brown sugar, of course, that's going to give it more of that sweet flavor and that sweeter consistency. So that I put as optional on the recipe. Let's see. So Phyllis is saying, I cannot see the recipe. So Phyllis, if you wouldn't mind trying to scroll all the way to the top, you might see it there. But if you still don't see it, of course, let us know. And I believe Allison can upload it for you. And here we go. So next we've got a 1/3 cup apple cider vinegar. Your bottle, you might have, and hopefully have, kind of like this cloudy residue at the bottom. That is called the mother, and that is where a lot of the good nutrients are. We want a 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar, and I chose apple cider vinegar because it's really great at helping us to balance our blood sugar. And plus, I think it's really delicious. So apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of yellow mustard. Gonna shake it, make sure we're getting the actual mustard and not that liquid that always freaks me out. What else? 1 tablespoon chili powder. For my friends who like it spicier, of course, add a little bit more. This is your barbecue sauce. So I'm just adding the 1 tablespoon and then 1 teaspoon freshly ground pepper. Next, we've got 1/2 teaspoon ground cayenne. So I have my 16-year-old daughter with us this evening. She does not like it too spicy, so I'm going to actually go just a 1/4 teaspoon in hopes that she joins me for dinner this evening. Okay, now we have it all in there. So let's mix it together and make sure the ingredients kind of gel together, bond together before we put it in the blender. How are we doing so far? Do we have any questions and or suggestions, especially if we have any like master barbecue makers in the room? I can tell you I've only done it homemade, culinary nutrition style, but I did not grow up making my own barbecue sauce. We actually grew up buying it in bottles from the shelf, from King Soopers. But now that I do the work that I do, I see the power in starting from scratch when you can. I know a lot of us are so busy. However, when you can take the time, like tonight, thank you again for showing up. It's just really fun to make food from scratch, right? And to remind us that we can eat healthfully and we can control the ingredients that go into our bodies. Okay, so we are gonna let the sauce just kind of simmer, do its own thing. I'm putting it on really low. If you have a cover, you might want to put a cover on it, but crack it just a little bit so it can air out. But the cover just helps so that you don't have the tomato sauce all over your range. Okay, so while we wait for the tomato sauce to merge and gel and become our true barbecue sauce, let's jump in for the meatballs, shall we? Okay, let's see if we have any questions here. Okay. Oh, yay, Julie's ready. She said, this is great. We'll have something new for the Super Bowl table. Please let us know how that turns out. That sounds amazing. Yes, I hope your crew loves this recipe. So with the meatballs, we are going to do 2 cups gluten-free flour. I already have my pound of beef in there. And I will tell you, last night I did a dress rehearsal with my daughter, and we did this exact same recipe for the meatballs, and the meatballs came out a little like doughy. I think she said it tasted more like, I forgot her exact word, but like a biscuit versus the beef. And so for today, I'm actually going to cut it down. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups and see how that tastes. If I want meatballs, I don't want dough balls. So there's 1 cup, and again, I am just eyeballing it. It's 1.5 cups. Also, I left this flour in the bag, so I wanted you to see Bob's Red Mill flour. I'm not endorsed by them. However, I just love that they have this 1-to-1. It tastes very similar to the traditional flour. However, it's anti-inflammatory because the wheat flour is definitely going to stuff up our sinuses, create mucus, and a lot of us, whether we realize it or not, research has shown, my personal experience has shown, results I've seen from clients show that wheat and gluten really aren't good for any of our bodies. It's not doing any of us any favors, specifically because the wheat just is not grown today in the same way that it was 50 years ago. So Bob's Red Mill flour, if you haven't experimented with gluten-free flour, this is one I recommend because it's 1-to-1, easy to bake with, And then you can just feel better about it when you are cooking and or baking. Okay, so Marianne says they make great products. Yeah, so you're a fan as well. Yes. And Diane says she'll look for it. Awesome, Diane. Keep us posted. Okay, 1 cup alternative milk. Very similar to the wheat. Dairy products can be absolutely inflammatory for a lot of us as well. And so I made you all some special almond milk. Too bad you're not at my house because I would love to let you try it and taste it. But there's a lot of recipes online if you want to make your own. And then, of course, I'm sure you've seen all the shelves lined in the grocery stores now because people know we want either a nut milk. Soy milk is okay if it's organic. Oat milk is delicious. It might make this a little doughy, but it'll still be good if you have oat milk in your fridge. And regular water as well. If you don't have any of the alternative milks, water would be fine in this recipe. So let me just shake it a little bit because with the nut milks, when you don't have any preservatives in there, the ingredients do tend to separate a bit. So shaking that up, we want 1 cup of the milk. And then next on the list is the meat, which I already have in there. 1 large egg beaten. And I pulled out a separate bowl. If I have any expert chefs in the room, awesome, go ahead, put your egg in. But even with all the cooking I do, I really like to do separate bowls for eggs because you just never know if that fly away little eggshell is going to get in there. And nobody has time to crack any tooth on hard shell eggs in their food. So did it separate. And thank you all for being my good luck charms. No eggshells in here. We also want to separate it as well. So I'm just using my little baby whisk to separate and scramble the egg. I'm going to pour that into our mixture. Ooh, it's coming together. Nice. And now we've got a 1/4 cup flat leaf parsley, finely chopped. So this one, you do want to actually finely chop it because our balls are going to be relatively small and it'll just make it easier to combine inside the ball. With that said, I put flat leaf parsley in the ingredients when I went to the store yesterday. And then when I went to the second store yesterday, there was no flat leaf Italian parsley. So I don't know if it's out of season or if it's just really popular here in Denver, but I grabbed cilantro, which is actually equally delicious, and it's going to give it a little bit of a spunk to it. So I just say that to say, use any kind of green herb you have, including spinach could actually be really delicious in these meatballs as well. So I'm going to grab it. I said 1/4 cup, so let's get a little bit more. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've got my herbs in a glass jar. Got the broccoli behind me in a glass jar. I have my almond milk in the glass jar. Can anybody tell me why I might be storing my food in glass and not plastic? Maybe that facial expression gave it away. And while you're thinking about it and or typing, let me know if you've actually moved your food over to glass as well. I am just chopping in very small chop size. And again, no perfection in culinary nutrition. We will just keep chopping until we don't feel like chopping anymore. How about that? And let's see. So back up a couple questions. And Marianne says she likes the spinach idea because she's making this with ground turkey. Yes, that sounds delicious. And then Diane, oh my goodness, this is an A+ crowd. Yes. because of the BPA that could be in the plastics that come into our system as xenoestrogens, which can get into our brain and rewire our hormones. And we don't want that happening. So yes, I try to encourage, inspire, recommend that we get the plastic out of our kitchens, no matter what. So good job. And David said it's much easier to clean as well. I agree. Amen. That is absolutely a plus. And then Linda says it doesn't take up any of the flavors. Right. It doesn't seep out any of the flavors. So you're exactly right. Yes. All fabulous reasons to stick with the glass. Well done. Okay. So now, oh, looks like I have one leaf that's being a little stubborn. Okay. So we're going to put our beautiful greens in our meatball mixture. All right, what do we have next? Okay, 1/4 cup of yellow onion. And that's going to be about 1/2 of a small onion. So this time we do want it to be actually a little less coarse and a little more fine, because again, the balls are going to be maybe like that size. So we want to get as much as we can in those meatballs. Also, it's probably a good time to just do a nice little stir on our simmering barbecue/tomato sauce. That is smelling good. Lovely. Okay. And you know, if I were in a proper kitchen, I know I would need to clean off my knife, but we're all friends, right? So the herbs are staying on the knife as I gently, delicately, delightfully chop this onion. And looking at the time, we are right on. So awesome job with the questions. Awesome job with keeping up with me. And maybe it's opposite. Maybe I need to keep up with you. Continue to remind me to focus on the food. Sometimes I just get so darn excited about the nutrition. It's hard for me to stop talking about that part. But yes, I think we've got what we need at this point. But I can't make any promises of not sharing any more information. So here we go. Chop, chop, chop. Okay, beautiful. Oops. That was a little coarse piece. I don't want any coarse pieces in my meatballs because I want them to be delicious. Okay, next we have 1 tablespoon of garlic minced. So I'm going to actually just take 2 of my garlic cloves that we peeled earlier, and I am going to mince them a lot tinier than we did for the barbecue sauce. And so we mentioned that these are in the allium family, perfect for this time of year as well, being antiviral, even antibacterial. And for those of us who struggle with allergies, if you can tolerate onions and garlic, I would recommend putting them in every single meal. You know, sprinkling them maybe in your eggs if you eat breakfast in the morning, having onions on a sandwich, sauteing onions at night on the side or on top of a meal. Like, get these allium family members in your body. And then we're getting this garlic in our meatballs. Okay. Last but not least, we've got 1 teaspoon of sea salt and then 1/2 teaspoon freshly ground pepper. And now comes the fun part. I'm sure, actually, how about this? I'm going to just assume that your hands have been clean this whole time. If not, this is just a friendly reminder to make sure they're extra clean because we're about to go in. I'm using a spoon right now just to get some of this mixture started, but when it gets to the point that it needs the hands are coming in. All right. Any questions at this point, whether it's about what we're making or if it's about anything we've discussed around nutrition? I will give you a heads up, and I'll mention it again at the end, but I will be back next month. We'll be here on March 9th. And I say here, but we'll actually be in my office because we won't be cooking next month. We will be talking nutrition, and I will be sharing 3 of my pillars to help you create a life and a body that you love. But then if you want to come join us and you're like, Michelle, all I want to do is cook. Well, awesome, because then we'll also be back in April. That is April 6th, and we're going to make some pad thai. So that's going to be really fun. Get some new flavors going, and I'll show you how to make it healthfully, of course. Okay, so now I think these meatballs are ready for these fingers. So here we go. Put the side. And if you're already a step or 2 ahead of me, then I want your meatballs about 1.25 inches in diameter. And then when you put them on your baking sheet, we want space for sure, so that there's room for the air to heat these up, because we do want these meatballs, we do want these meatballs mostly cooked through, even though they will be cooking and simmering in the sauce, but no salmonella here. With that said, I know there's some of us who do prefer more of the red in our burgers and or our ground beef, and that's fine. That's fine. We're going to make these meatballs to your liking. And you can see, I'm just kind of taking them and dropping them. Let's see. Oh, yay. Marianne says she's marking her calendar for these lovely events. I look forward to seeing you, Marianne. It's going to be fun. I really believe that 2023 is the year that some of us just get our act together, right? Like, there's so many things, items that come with adulting that, you know, we have to take our time. But for some reason, 2023 just feels like the year that a lot of us are going to get back into our fitness and or get back into our nutrition and feel really good in our bodies. And I am here for it. Anything I can do to help, to inspire, that is why I do what I do. That is why I get my fingers nice and covered in stuff for you. Who are we kidding? This is for me too. It's going to be so delicious. But I am sincerely so happy that you are here and that we are cooking together. And then if you have a partner in the kitchen, you might want to ask them to stir the sauce a bit. I will get to that as soon as I finish these last meatballs. So my texture is a little bit softer than what I'm used to. So it's going to be a fun experiment to see what these look like when they come out of the oven. But we did put in all the correct ingredients. I have a feeling the meat and the ingredients are going to take care of themselves. Ooh, and there we go. We did it. Okay, is this a little baby meatball that was left? No meatball gets left behind. So, pardon me, give me a moment. I'm going to wash my hands and then we will pop those bad boys in the oven. Okay, you're still with me. So let's grab this tray. And you can see, again, they're not perfect, but they will be absolutely delicious. So I'll pop them in back here. All right, and I just put the timer on for 12 minutes for mine, just because, like I said, they're a little bit more liquid than I was accustomed to. For you, if the texture felt just right, then 10 minutes should be plenty. Because again, we're going to spend the last 10 minutes simmering them in our lovely barbecue sauce. So while we're doing that, let's get our broccoli ready. So grab a bowl. And let's see if that's in the way. I'll move it. There you go. Now you can see my hands. And I already chopped my broccoli and I rinsed it here in the colander. So I'll give you a moment to do that. What I love about broccoli, well, many things that I love, but for this time of year, I chose it because it's really high in vitamin C. That actually surprises some people, but I will tell you, broccoli and cauliflower, very high in vitamin C, which we know is great for helping to ward off colds, helping to manage, allergies, manage allergy symptoms. And I just find that they're both really tasty. And so with this recipe, I'm just adding a little kick to make it a little different and delicious for you. So take your 2 heads of broccoli, chop them up in, I was going to say bite size, but we can, when it's done being roasted, we can use our fingers, we can use forks and knives. So I will just say, chop it into the size that is comfortable for you. And then put it in the bowl. And then we're going to add everything in the bowl besides the sesame seeds. We're going to use that as our extra little flourish at the end. And so as I go to that recipe, oh, Sherry's asking what temperature for the meatballs. Thank you for asking. So 400 degrees for everything tonight. So 400 degrees for the meatballs and 400 degrees for the broccoli. Great question. Let's see if there's anything else. Marianne says they look good. Woo! Well, I can't wait for you to make your own, Marianne. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, now we have the broccoli, 2 more cloves of garlic. And it looks like I did not do my math correctly. Believe it or not, I actually was really good at math in high school. Tonight, my brain just must be elsewhere. But the good news is I love broccoli. And so I have 3 garlic cloves that I am going to mince. And I'm going to include that in my bowl with the broccoli. Like I said, I could never have too much because it's just so darn good for you. Mince, mince, mince. And for my friends who don't love getting the garlic smell on the fingers, you won't be surprised to know I love that smell. That's one of my favorite aromatherapies, but I try to meet people where they are. And so I will just say, I know in most grocery stores, you can find already minced garlic in the glass jars. And that is, of course, perfectly fine if you want to use that. No judgment here. I'm all about saving people time. Okay, so let's put our minced garlic in our bowl with our broccoli. And then I say 1 tablespoon olive oil or avocado oil. Olive oil, just as a hip tip, it's another amazing brain supportive oil, health supportive fat for our healthy aging. However, when it gets at high heats, when we're sauteing or frying with olive oil, that's when we're in danger because it does change form. However, if it's a light saute and or baking, like we're gonna be baking the broccoli, it's perfectly fine and still health supportive. But we just wanna watch the high heats because we don't want it changing its chemical form, which harms our brain. So because I have avocado oil over here, I am just gonna keep this. And I believe, yes, I said 1 tablespoon. We're just gonna eyeball that. Woo! I love a little drizzle. The sesame oil, we've got 1 teaspoon, and this one's really more of a neutral. Like sesame seeds, amazing for our bone health, our skin health, tissue repair. But when it comes in the oil, I would say it's not good and it's not bad. It's just lovely flavor that adds and enhances to our experience with our broccoli. So that's there. And now we get to use our hands again. For those of us who are gardeners, and actually let me know in the comments, do we have any gardeners in the room? Because I will share with you, I am a gardener and I have missed my garden so much. And so maybe that's why I was attracted to this meal tonight, because I get to get my hands in there. That's the part that I love the most about gardening is being in the earth. Let's see. Oh, so Donna's saying that if you touch stainless steel, it removes the smell from your hands. I've heard that before, Donna. I've never tried it, but I believe you. So I guess I would try it if I didn't love the smell so much. But for those of you who don't love the smell, take Donna's advice. That's fabulous. Okay, now we're gonna grab our sheet. And similar to the meatballs, I want you to spread your broccoli around so that there's as much space as possible. Some of the garlic might be stuck in there, so just move that onto your sheet. And now, if you could put the broccoli down on the flat side, that'll help it roast a little bit easier. And oh boy, for my friends who are cooking with us, I'm getting excited for the smells that you're about to have, the aroma you're about to have in your kitchen. Just roasted garlic with the toasted sesame oil. This is truly one of my favorites, and it's one that my children eat. So win, win, win. Okay, let me rinse my hand one more time. Okay, let's do a time check. It looks like we are, oh good, right on time. So we've got about 12 minutes until we have dinner on your table. So let's turn our sauce off, give it another good stir. If you have a handheld blender, awesome, that will do the trick. I do, but for the purposes here, most of us have blenders. I'm gonna pour mine into the blender. And this is just going to really get all of the ingredients marinated and blended together. And of course, please, please, please be very careful. Nobody gets cut in my classes and nobody gets burnt. So take your time as you're pouring the sauce into the blender. Got a stainless steel Vitamix. Don't tell my husband. He usually gets very jealous when I start talking about her. I love my Vitamix because you can do so much. We can make barbecue sauce. I make smoothies in this one. You can, with the stainless steel carafe. I never know how to pronounce it. Carafe. You know what I'm talking about. I just like that you can do super, super cold things and super, super hot things. So, can't say enough. Be careful as you're pouring it in. With that said, pour away from your body so that if there is any splash, it's going away from your body. Ooh, it's getting messy. And it's quite all right if you have extra tomato sauce that stays in your pan, because as you know, it's all going to end up in the same place either way. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean up a little bit of the sides. There we go. Let me actually grab a sponge. And now we are just gonna blend it. And my friends who have been with me before, get ready for the shoulder dance. You know it's coming. Here we go. Okay, so that should be nice and liquefied. Let's take a peek, see what we've got. And be careful, especially if you don't have a venting lid. We don't want that heat burning anybody. Oh, and plus you get a free facial. Oh, how lovely is that? This is gorgeous. Okay, so let's pour it back in our pan. And we want to turn the heat back on to a very low simmer. Make sure to mix it all together. And while this is heating back up, of course, mix it in with the remains that you still have in your pot. So everything is uniform. Because I didn't have the molasses nor the brown sugar, my barbecue sauce is a bit on the orange side, as you can see. But if you had molasses, I'm sure you have nice, deep brown looking barbecue sauce. Okay, and now I'm gonna grab the meatballs and we're gonna do a little exchange. I'll move the meatballs into the sauce and then I will also move our broccoli into the oven, which again is 400 degrees. Oh, for my friends who aren't cooking, you can see they are halfway cooked. We're gonna cook them up or continue to cook them in this beautiful warm sauce. Let me put the broccoli in so that can get nice and roasty. Okay. So, tongs. So gently and carefully and lovingly always, let's place the meatballs in our sauce. Looks like I had the heat up a little too high. Oh yeah, hello sauce, we see you. It's trying to pop up here. Okay, I see you. Gorgeous. And I wanted to also let you know, if you haven't put it together yet, that my friends who want more of the Italian flavor, so like the Italian meatballs, you could actually use the same recipe, but just use a deeper marinara sauce. Just change around some of the flavors, but the process is very similar. Let's see here. Let's see if they're all going to fit in this pot. I think we're going to be right at capacity, which is perfect. And if you're cooking with me, you'll be able to confirm they're very delicate at this stage. So just take your time as you're placing them in your sauce. And then I'm just grabbing a spoon to make sure they're covered in all this beautiful sauce. And I'm just gently moving them around so they stay intact. It's gonna be good. So I want to be mindful of your time. It looks like we're coming right up to the end of this workshop. Do we have any questions while our food is simmering and still cooking? It looks like we've got about 8 more minutes on the meatballs and probably a solid 15 minutes on the broccoli. I will definitely pull them out before those. We can get an idea of what it looks like. And then of course, if you want the extra roasted kind of charred flavor, then I recommend just keeping them in the oven a little bit longer. All right, let's check out the chat. Oh, yay. Allison says we will stay for as long as we need to. Okay, good. We're going to have some good eating tonight. Great. And let's see. So Anita's saying for the broccoli dish, I don't usually have sesame seeds on hand, but I always keep hemp seeds around that I sprinkle on salads and stuff for added nutrition. Yes, yes, ma'am. Would hemp seeds be a good substitution? Yes. Awesome. I also just read that sesame seeds have good nutrients too. I didn't know that. Oh, Anita, yes, yes, yes. Hemp seeds are a wonderful source of protein, actually. And so I love that you're using those. I often put some hemp seeds in my protein smoothies in the morning. They add a little bit of that kind of nutty flavor, as you mentioned, how you sprinkle them on your salad, but also I do it for the healthy protein and also the healthy fat component. Well done. Let's see. Oh, I love it. Allison's looking out for you all. She's like, I don't want to leave you all on a cliffhanger. That is fantastic. So just as a reminder, sounds like some of you have already marked your calendar, but I will be back next month, back in my office right behind me, March 9th at 7 p.m. And that is where we will be talking about my 3 pillars to help you build a body and a life that you love. We're going to have some fun, if you can't already tell, but it'll also be very educational. So I hope you join us for that. Also in April 6th, we will be back here in the kitchen and we'll be making pad thai. So maybe my friends who didn't cook with us tonight, maybe you'll be ready to cook with us in April. I would love to have you. Okay, I saw the chat box moving. Let's see. Oh, Donna says, please share your protein shake ingredients. So where do I even begin with that? I will tell you that at the bottom of your recipe that you have here, there's a link to my website, and there are plenty of smoothie recipes there if you go to the food tab. But also, I can tell you, Google. I like to recommend Dr. Google has thousands of recipes. But with that said, what you want to be mindful of is looking for the recipes that are gluten-free, dairy-free, and as low in sugar as possible. Excuse me. Let me take a little sippy sip. One of the most popular questions I get when I do talk about making smoothies is which protein powder? So I really want you to be avoiding the whey, because again, that is the inflammatory dairy ingredients. And a brand that I have come to love, and again, I'm not endorsed by them, I just really love Orgain, especially the keto Orgain, because they have the vegan protein, but also some of the collagen, which comes from cows. And it's a clean protein and it mixes really well. So it's not chalky. It's just really delicious. So I hope that helps answer a few of the protein shake questions. Let's see. Julie says, thank you for another fun evening, Miss Michelle. You are welcome, Julie. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for your patience with the timing of the meatballs and the broccoli, which, as I'm looking at the time, I actually will pull out the broccoli for now, just so we can look at it together. And I actually am going to spoon up some meatballs and we can present it. So let me grab, I would say, safety first. The roasted broccoli. Oh yeah, you can hear it sizzling. So I will be putting this back in the oven, but I just wanted to show you midway. You can see the broccoli is just so happy. It's nice and green, and the garlic is like wafting in. This is a beautiful anti-inflammatory meal. Here we go. And what I love about this combination is it combines my PFF method, which is protein, fat, healthy fat, and fiber. We want that in all of our meals because, again, it supports our brain, it supports us aging gracefully, and it helps to satiate our stomachs. So the protein we've got in the meatballs, the healthy fat we talked about, we have that in the oils. And then the fiber, of course, is gorgeous green broccoli. Okay, I'm gonna dish mine out right now and save a few meatballs from my family. You can see, voila. All right, so let me double check, make sure there's no more questions. Okay, looks like we got it. So thank you all for being here. I sincerely hope I get to see you next month and or in April as well. And it's been a beautiful evening. Enjoy these meatballs, enjoy your broccoli. I truly hope you have a delicious evening. Great to see you. Have a wonderful evening. My pleasure.